when we are impoverished and when we are poor, we do everything for money. We need more money to get out of those circumstances. But when we are rich, we don't really move as much because of money. We tend to value our time more. That does not mean that you don't value money, because money is essential to keep your life in the circumstances that it's in, right? But I think that this section does a really good job breaking this down. It's called the value of time. A marked characteristic of old money is that it does not waste time. This does not mean old money does not enjoy leisure. It does. This does not mean old money is always in a hurry. It rarely is. What it means is that old money knows the value of time and is aware that you cannot bank or borrow it like you can cash. You cannot bank or borrow it like you can cash. You're going to spend it one way or the other, and when it's spent, it's gone forever. And I remember watching a video by Byron, and he was talking about this concept that if somebody gave you $1 million today, and I don't know if he was the original person to say this, but somebody gave you $1 million today, but you have to die tomorrow, would you take the $1 million? And most people are gonna be like, no. And he asked why. Because I'm not going to be able to spend the money if I'm going to die tomorrow, and I would rather just live. And he said that to say, okay, that goes to tell you that time is actually more valuable than money, because money is actually, as much as we pretend to think that money is not renewable in a sense that it can't be earned, money is just the thing that we use in our climate and our society to exchange. But if we no longer had money, we would just barter, and it would be skills. Right? So it's not as important as your time, is the point that I'm trying to make. So old money is often focused on maximizing the moment, whether it's being productive at work or being joyful at home. Maximizing the moment means committing to what you're doing without distraction for that time that you're doing it. The biggest enemies of this are mobile phones, emails, and internet in general, and television in particular. Now, mind you, this book was written back in the early 2000s, so I mean, this is probably worse now than he actually imagined when he was writing the book. If you're going to write or read an email, do it. If you're going to watch a television program, as opposed to sitting down and lethargically watching television for no particular reason, watch it. Like basically saying, don't, you know how we're accustomed to background noise? Like you might sit down to watch a show, but then you're also on your phone, or you're also having a conversation, or you're also doing something else. Societal. We're always in a state of doing one thing and doing another thing at the same time. And we think like, oh, because this other thing is passive while I'm still focused on this. He's basically saying that just do it. So if you're going to have a conversation with a friend, have it, but don't try to do all three at once. Something will be lost, not the least of which will be the magic in maximizing the moment. Multitasking, a term old money loathes, is often just pretending to do more than one thing at a time and doing none of them well. Focus on a task, activity, or person. Invest fully. You will be more productive at work and have more fun when you play. So just being in the moment. And I think that this is something, again, people get upset when I read from this book because they like to insert principles that he's not talking about. They like to say things that he never mentioned. This book, the Old Money book, there's nothing in this book about how to get rich. He's not teaching you how to get rich. He is teaching you the practices that probably were not passed down to you or introduced to you. In fact, you were probably taught everything of the opposite. Like you were probably taught that you have to hurry up and you have to not waste your time, but not because you should value your time, because you should value the money that's impacting your wasted time, or you should value the other things that's impacting your wasted time. But I wanted to say that he does not talk about how to earn money in this book. He's just talking about principles of people from old money that help them to live a better lifestyle. And that could actually help you to live a better lifestyle. I also want to make it clear that anyone doing anything in their life can take advantage of the things listed in this book, because it's not something that's limited to class. It's just things that we are made to believe are limited to class. Like the last portion of this book that I read, I was talking about cars. No, I was talking about financing a car. And it's very hard to have these conversations online because there's always people who hear what they want to hear. They hear things that trigger them. They hear something that wasn't even said, and then they start arguing about the thing that they thought that they heard. But these principles are sound. If you don't have a lot of money, if you do have a lot of money, I think that most of the principles in this book will actually help you to shift your focus on what you're doing and to enjoy the experiences of your life more. So for example, what I was talking about with the finance in the car, you finance a car, and let's say What we don't look at when we finance cars is, okay, you're paying for the car, like the amount of the loan, but then you also are going to over time pay the interest. And then you also got to pay your insurance and whatever maintenance comes with that car. That $400, $500, $600, $700, $1,000 every single month adds up. $12,000 a year on a car note versus what he suggested. If you have money for a down payment, maybe try finding a car that you can use that down payment on and just get a cash car. Older car, more reliable model. You do have to do a little bit more homework to find that thing, to find that car and to make sure that it's a good buy. But you put that money down one time and now you drive that car, keep it maintenance, take good care of it. That's $12,000 that you don't have to spend on the other car now, or $6,000 or $7,000, whatever it is. And the reason that that's important is not because of frugality, because there was somebody who was like going back and forth about saying that he was trying to preach these frugality tips that old money don't live by. He never says the word frugal in this book, at least not that I think. I haven't seen the word frugal in here, because it's not about being cheap. It's not about being frugal. He's teaching you how to maximize what is important in your life. And so one of the things that he says, and I think, again, you're reading a book about old money, people start thinking that you're talking about rich. People start thinking that you're talking about wealthy. People start thinking that you're talking about people who are high earners. There are people who are old money that live regular lives. The term old money is just a term that he's using to describe the people that he's talking about. And again, people with money are going to do whatever it is that they want to do. So he's not saying that they all don't do this and they all don't do this. What he's saying is they value things that we don't value. We tend to, and when I say we, I'm talking about people who are not old money, people who have not amassed all of this wealth. A lot of times, even people who don't have a lot of money, when they come into more money, their mindset starts to change, because in the beginning, they wanted to buy all the things they never had. They wanted to get all of these experiences. But then at some point, they also shift and they start to be like, wait, it's about my time. It's about these conveniences. And the thing is, if you take what he's talking about in this book, like the self-discipline, like making better decisions financially, not spending money on things that you don't have the money for, you will be able to more so have money to afford other conveniences. And this is something I talk about all the time too, with not necessarily minimalism, but at least with your wardrobe. So many people pride themselves on like looking the best, always looking put together, always having the newest, the best, the greatest. If you can afford that, fine. But if your wardrobe is making you broke, you probably need to reconsider. And that's all that he's saying in this book. He's like, there are certain things that these people live by, and it helps them to not spend their money frivolously on things they don't care about. And it helps them to then have money, I guess, to do whatever else they do care about and to spend on whatever it is that they want. Because he's not saying these people don't spend their money. He's saying these people don't spend their money on silly things that don't matter to them. And so what we do, we tend to like overemphasize the importance of things like our clothes, our house, our car, whatever, vessels of things that we just use in life. And they tend to focus on things like a good education. So he referenced how there are some families, they might downsize their living situation just to move closer and to be able to afford private school for their kids, because they value education more than they value having a big house. Not saying that that's the case for everyone, but again, is that not a principle that you could adapt to? Like, okay, what can I downsize or get rid of so that I can have more money for this? And one of the things that I told y'all about for us was there were some things that just made more sense. Okay, don't do this, because for me, I want to have money and access to childcare or money and access to certain leisure activities. So if that means that it will make more sense to not do this because we don't care about that anyway, then why not, right? So I think that is, when you read the book, you have to keep that in mind. He's not teaching you how to make money. He's more so trying to help you reshape the way that you think about habits and values that you have been taught over the course of your life that are actually hindering you from enjoying your life. Oh, and this the Old Money book by Byron Tully. I got this book on Amazon, maybe. Yeah, I did. I got it on either Amazon or Thrift Books, wherever. I've been having it for quite some time.